Alrighty. Well, now unmute myself. I'm just gonna.
All right, that's that.
Yeah. So, my kitchen mishap this morning had to deal with Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. So, Jim bought some. He's on this kick about I forget what it's called, but it doesn't matter. So he got these Pop-Tarts from Dollar General, and they're not like they look like the ones that you buy individually, like the packages that you buy individually that are like slightly bigger than the other ones. But they're Pop-Tarts, right? You think no problem. Like you just pop them in the toaster and warm them up and they come back out. Well, I popped mine in the toaster, popped them out. Well, no, I didn't pop them out. The toaster was done and it didn't come up. I was like, well, that's different. Because of how since we now have the Keurig, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So I pull it out and I kind of lift it up and oh yeah, they've in the middle they have like sunken. So it's now they're now like this. So obviously they're not going to just come right out. And I'm pulling on them to try to get them out. Yeah, they rip. And I now have half Pop-Tart and half Pop-Tart on my plate and half Pop-Tart sitting in the toaster, which I then have to get out. So I have to unplug the toaster because, things like that, and dig essentially out with getting it out. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I didn't have the Pop-Tarts, by the way, because they were nasty. They
are
good.
Pop-Tarts.
Hey, don't knock the Pop-Tart.
Don't yuck someone else's yum.
Yeah, it'd be good. It was meant to be a quick, I need something on my belly before we start the show.
Wait, back up. Did you just say
Yes?
on your belly?
Yes.
Or did you mean in your belly?
Nope. I said on my belly.
You're putting Pop-Tarts on your belly?
I know that it's in your belly. I know that you eat them and you swallow them and they are inside you. For me, I like to have something on my stomach. I don't know if you don't know that phrase?
No.
Like you take
this is
when
new
you take
to me
medication.
because it sounds. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about putting Pop-Tarts on your belly, and I'm like, what?
Oh no. That's
I got confused.
No, I mean like you eat them. I would have eaten them, but it's something my mom used to say. Like you would put something in your stomach or on your stomach so that you can take medication, or so that your stomach's not upset or hungry, so you don't get those hunger pains. So you put you put it on your stomach or on your belly. It's meaning that you've eaten it to tide you over until your actual meal.
It still doesn't make sense to me. Because you still need to put it in your belly in order for it to tide those hunger pains.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
It's okay.
So
it's like when I first learned about apparently a Texas phrase or Southern phrase. I shouldn't just say just Texas. But southern phrase of the itis.
Oh, yeah.
Which, personally, I think is the stupidest thing in all the world. The best... I prefer... This is the same thing as food coma.
Yeah. It's the itis. So essentially, after you've eaten like a really great meal, it's that like feeling of like
basically
tiredness.
You know, food coma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's synonymous. So, but
synonymous.
I'm like,
so
the itis.
Okay. So for the record, I've heard neither of these statements / phrases.
You've never heard of a food coma?
No. I've never heard of
which is
itis.
usually referred to, okay.
Let the audio delay catch up with y'all. Okay. It's the internet. It's a little slow today. I've also never heard of putting something on your belly. So I am just going to own my Northeast, like, U.S. whiteness right now, because apparently I don't know shit about, like, colloquial sayings in culture in other regions.
I'm so glad you at least know food coma.
Yes, because it's a white trash saying.
Yeah, we're both northern boys. So... We're both from the north, and we're both white, so...
So this will be Urban Dictionary with Damon for a moment.
We didn't even got to the show yet.
Itis is the drowsy, sleepy. Oh, are you gonna play the sound clip? I'll stop.
I'm trying to see if I actually have it loaded. I don't think I have it loaded right now. Oh no, I do. Hold on. You can't hear it. Oh wait, it's playing through the wrong speaker too. It's Urban Dictionary with Damon.
Here we go. So itis. Itis is the drowsy, sleepy feeling you get after eating a large meal. Usual meals like big Sunday dinners, Thanksgiving, and Christmas meals. To use it in a sentence, man, that itis done got me. I'm fixing to take a nap.
Wow.
Whoa! Talk about stereotypes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
For that.
Anyway, and it can be spelled. There's hashtags. So there's itis. There's ITYS. There's hashtag that-itis. There's hashtag D-itis. There's hashtag itis, IDIS. And then there's hashtag itis, IDYS. So there you go. There you go. Ba-dum-bum-bum. And this has been Urban Dictionary with Damon.
Please. Okay, but everybody else can. There we go. We had an intro and outro to a special part of it. So if you're only listening, so the only people who will be able to see this are those people watching on YouTube and our patrons. But yeah, bonus
content.
Bonus content for 500.
Now I gotta see.
All right.
What?
So W Bear just recently did a survey, and I just realized I already filled it out. But it would be funny, instead of calling them private pictures or private albums, they should call it bonus content. Because that's really what it is. It's bonus
content.
Or boner content in some cases.
Content, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And hashtag boner content.
Welcome to episode 500, where we totally forget to do everything we were going to do. So we're all
it's all good.
Oh, wait a minute. No, hold on. Damon's fine. He remembered everything he needed to do.
Because I do everything after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. So you're fine. You're the one who didn't fuck up anything.
Yeah.
Or didn't forget anything. Let me just say, nothing's fucked up. It's just forgot and we're late. And we only have about an hour and a half before I kind of need to stop recording so I can eat and take a shower and get dressed and get to work. So,
well,
I mean,
technically
I don't start till 2, so 2 hours for getting to work is not necessarily needed, but I like getting there early because, that's the thing. Anyways, are you guys ready? Otherwise,
I would say I'm ready, but you kind of already know that.
Gary.
Yes, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay, so let's try this. So far, so good. I'm not getting any error messages, so
Oh, we actually heard that this time.
Oh, and you probably can't hear anything now. So, bully for you guys.
Again.
Let's see, you can't hear
Now
I know, because I got a message that said there was an unexpected error sharing your sound. But apparently it could share the screen. It's really weird. Sound is audio is less data to transfer than audio. So it's Skype.
Sound is hard. Apparently sound is hard.
Anyways, so but visual cues for yourselves. All right. Let's that. All right, let's do this son bitch. And a 3, and a 2. It's Sunday, March 3rd, 2019. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I don't brew the tea, I just serve it.
And that makes me Gary.
Don't hurt nobody with your bad self.
And welcome to Comes Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 500. Yay! Kermit Flail! I realized. So I was going to do something for the beginning of the show, but I totally forgot to do it for the live show. But it's right over here in progress. If you can see my finger, it's in progress. So all you audio listeners, you heard it. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody else will have to listen to it once the audio podcasts come out. But it will be there. I promise. Cross my heart. That will be there. Yeah. So I'm not sure what we're doing here besides we got 500 episodes. Of course, what do we do for 500? We slack off.
No.
I wouldn't say that we slacked off. I would say that we considered several options and decided perhaps to be untraditional.
Are traditional.
Depending on your viewpoint. So what I'm going to do that's a little untraditional because it is in the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Jeff, this one's for you.
Hey!
I'm going to have a beer.
Oh, I don't have a beer. I feel bad.
It's okay. I'll just drink my coffee tea.
I got to work anyways, so probably should just...
Also true. Yeah.
I mean, having a beer really wouldn't be any real problem, but still.
Well, I will say this. It's been kind of awesome. Like this is a really big milestone for a lot of podcasts. If you don't, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yes, we have technically done more than 500 episodes, but we've reached 500, which is
in the episode numbering.
Yeah, right. It's a big deal.
Numerically, we have finally reached 500. I'm not sure what the official count is.
Yeah, we had of regular Comes Out Loud episodes. We've had 500, but then we've had those 6 TNG episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a bunch of different special episodes, which we numbered separately. We've had all of the COLDR episodes, which you guys are getting close to 100 on. Thinking a season or two, you'll hit 100. Something like that. This is like 12 episodes a season or something like that.
Today we'll be recording episode number 76 of COLDR.
Woo-hoo!
So while the titles don't indicate it, if you look at the file name for recent episodes, at least you'll see the episode numbers. That we also have COL movies, which we did a good chunk of. What was COL movies ended on?
That's a good question.
Well, if we go to colmovies.com, we can find out. So really, it ended on episode 134. So it did hit over 100 episodes. This was back in 2013 too. Then I recorded a special little episode called End of Line for what I still tagged as 135. So unfortunately, it came to a point where watching a rental, watching something in the theater, just getting the time to record just kind of
it was just too much.
Yeah. If I could watch a movie a week, actually, we did it monthly instead of like weekly. That would be kind of cool. And now with streaming stuff too, so I mean.
True,
there's ways we could bring it back. But hey, the Movie Bears podcast is still going strong.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit better than what we were doing. We were doing something different though. But I really kind of had fun with that because we had the theme of the past, the present, and the future, where we looked at an old movie, looked at a current movie, and then looked at a trailer for a movie that was coming out. Talking about that, so that was kind of cool. That was fun. And I had Ray and Steve, who were amazing co-hosts, and we had awesome album art, so which I kind of use in other places as well. So, anyways,
yeah.
So we had 134 full episodes, and even at that point in time, we kind of like reformatted by that time. So, it ended just because life was starting to get in the way, and we just kind of like it just wound down. So, oh well.
Oh yeah, it happens. So
we've had some amazing and weird co-hosts.
No.
See, there was me. There were 4 co-hosts in the first generation. This including me. Then, and we got 5 more in the current generation.
Yep.
So, total of 9 co-hosts over the course of this entire show. We also lost some episodes. Mainly because I was using one service that went away and I didn't download everything.
Womp womp.
So there was there were some episodes that are lost. I still have entries for all of the episodes on the website, cubsoutlive.com. But some of them might not work because the file's missing. Like I was looking for episode 100 for reasons. And, well, the file's gone. Basically, 2010 was not a good year of saving audio files. It's like... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 episodes from that year that you can listen to.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's 16 out of what, 52?
51.
So everyone pull out your calculators.
That was just for
divided by 51.
That was so just for that year. So if anybody has any of the old episodes for some strange reason, please let me know. Can you send it to us?
If you happen to have an episode from 2010 that you just have left on a zip drive or zip disk or a flat or
an
look,
old
it's
iPod.
Not that all.
Yeah,
it's not that long ago.
I'm kidding. Like you put it on a 256 megabyte like flash drive. Remember those?
Oh. I mean, we still have flash drives. It's just they're gigabytes instead of.
So I have specifically, according to the Matrix, if anybody has episode 147 or 154 from 2011, those episodes are listed as lost. I don't know how that happened because I don't remember writing that in here. So.
Oh no, I did that.
On the Matrix.
Just column G. Just look at column G. Like if you go into 2010, column G, you'll see where it says available.
My browser isn't. All right, let me expand it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Way over there. Okay.
You have some wide columns, Gary.
I did. Okay, fine. And someone's already editing.
Yeah,
shit.
That's me.
I'm changing stuff.
Now you can see him.
No, it's fine.
Oh
I was busy trying to add up some brief numbers because yes, technically we're at 500. We've done 4 flashbacks, 3 SEs. I don't know what that stood for.
Special episodes
or special editions.
I think those are very much in way back machine. And then SPs were special episodes, of which we've had 8. There were 3 RACs, which I'm not sure what that's.
Random acts of cubbiness.
Ah, yeah.
That was me being silly.
And then, like we said, 75 COLGRs, and in over 11 years, because technically all of this shit began with a pilot that is not a part of the official count. In January 17th of 2008 is when it was posted, known as COL pilot testing 1 2 3. So let's see, it's not quite St. Patrick's Day, so it's not quite 11 months and 2 years. But in that time, we've only missed 8 weeks in over 11 years.
Well, there was a point in time where
there was somewhere where there was a
gap.
Like if you look at 2011, there was what how many count? 9 episodes during the entire year. Tried doing a monthly thing, didn't quite work. I remember back at the beginning I tried to do like the because like there was a website that was doing the best of bears. And I tried doing tried to like basically coverage for it.
Right.
So that was interesting.
So the bears.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I was
the
complete bear, I think, had it. It was a popularity contest, so what do you know? Surprise, shocking.
So anyway. Also we over 11 plus years, 500 episodes, 246 guest appearances.
Wow. We've had some guests.
With some of those repeated guests, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
It wasn't 240 individual different people.
Right.
So some of those guests stayed and became hosts.
Yeah. One in particular is sitting right.
Yeah, right here. Right there. We have to figure out the layout. Right there. There we go. I'm pointing in the correct direction.
I'm on the bottom. Imagine that.
Right in between 2 tops. We love you, Gary.
I'm sure. Love me long time.
Well, you are wearing a Slobby Bottom 23 shirt.
Hey, I did that as a tribute because I thought if there was anything that would make this celebration official is that I should at least own the one and only shirt that,
is at least
specifically attributed to me somehow.
Speaking of wear, quick comment. So Damon over there, he has on the second generation logo T-shirt, but he's also wearing a Bruiser sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Which if it weren't for Bruiser, which I think at the time that we started, it was still Bear Book. Do you remember?
It was Bruiser for me.
Okay.
I think. Well, no, now I can't remember because I wasn't on that. It was Bruiser when I joined. I don't know if it was Bruiser or Bear Book for you, Damon.
It was Bruiser for me as well.
So Bruiser is where I posted, "Hey, who wants to do a podcast?" And Damon, the other guy,
other people,
as well as Robert.
Yeah.
And then through other methods, Eric came on, and obviously Gary. And Gary just stuck around, and I'm so appreciative.
Because I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently. At this rate, I'm going to have to get more beer because I'm already halfway through this one. Yikes.
Yeah, it was in... Oh, go ahead,
Damon.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask Jeff, because I think this is the thing that we've never, to my knowledge, talked about in 499 numerical episodes. Jeff, what prompted you to begin the podcast?
Literally, I've been listening to podcasts and I just wanted to do one. Out of shits and giggles, it literally was that.
So you kind of got a buck up your ass? Like you were like, this is fun. I could do this. Like anybody could walk and chew gum at the same time, kind of a thought, or
something like that. It's like I'm listening to podcasts and I'm like, oh, kind of want to do one. Hey Tim, JJ, you want to do a podcast?
Nice.
And then I got the website. I got set up a WordPress blog on the WordPress.com, which eventually got moved over to its own web hosting service. Mainly because I wanted to do more stuff that I couldn't do on WordPress.com. So, and then I tried to do a bunch of expanding and making it more of like a blog site with a podcast as well, but that didn't quite work out. In the end, it just was a podcast, and real life ended up getting in the way, which what ended the first generation. So,
yeah.
The reason why I wanted to ask was because when I came on and joined, podcasting was new to me, but I had a friend who had been doing one for a little while. It was a comedy-based style. I say comedy because the whole point of it was a bunch of people getting together and talking shit on each other and making each other laugh. David knows what I'm talking about. Well, no, that's true. Like sometimes we do that here as well. But I had just begun understanding what podcasting was, but I've always been a rebel. So a lot of podcasts will make a reference to, if you have iTunes, well, there was a time when you could podcast through iTunes and you still can, but then Apple finally, after several years, got it together and was like, oh, we can just create a podcast app. And in the meantime, many podcast apps have come along, and in particular, the one that I have been with since before I joined this particular iteration, this grouping, is called Downcast. And I've been happy with it ever since. I think I paid maybe $4.99 for it a long time ago, and it's kept me happy ever since, even though it's annoying me right now because it's telling me I have 34 episodes to listen to.
And just to be fair to Apple, the iTunes store for podcasts, it's really a directory.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a listing of podcasts, which you can subscribe to using the podcast app nowadays, or iTunes if you're on a computer. So they're not actually taking anybody's stuff; they're just listing it.
Right.
So, unlike Stitcher, who basically you list in Stitcher, and Stitcher basically downloads your audio, then puts it into a lesser quality format and lets you play it. I think it's the theory behind that is just because of the lesser quality, it's much better to stream, so that it's you don't get like buffering or anything like that. So the audio quality is less. But they also have a copy of your stuff that they have on their own servers. So, which is kind of one of the reasons why I do give them a little bit of shit. But, people use Stitcher, so.
Well, and to be fair, like the app that I use, I can either stream or download. And my settings are for download, even though it can sometimes be a hog for like capacity on my phone or my iPad. But I also notably 99+% of them are audio only. So I'm not really using as much space if there was video. There's only one out of all the podcasts that's a video podcast, which is kind of unique probably for some people. But they created an RSS feed. It downloads, so and it's not on YouTube, so it works for me. But yeah, no, I was really curious because when I came along, I liked the idea of a podcast. I still talk about it to this day when people hear, or if I end up mentioning them that I co-host a podcast, they say, "What's a podcast?" or "How does that work?" And I'm like, this is what I've said probably since I very first joined, which I think now is 5 years, 6 years. Does anybody remember? Not really.
Nope.
I don't remember.
6 years as of January 14th. We missed my anniversary. Not a big deal.
Wow.
So, I'm just saying. So ever since I first joined, I would tell people, this has always been my definition. It's an internet radio talk show.
Yeah.
Like, or I would say a radio talk show for the internet. Like, I would just kind of put it that way because I wanted to keep it in terms that people could understand without going through this whole thing like, oh, well, we record this stuff, and at the time we recorded audio. Now we do this thing live with YouTube. So now there's a video component, and then we make a companion audio component to go with it. Like, I don't want people to really get confused, especially if they don't understand what podcasting is, even though it's quite popular in the vernacular, and everybody and their brother now seems to have a goddamn podcast. I'm just saying that because what's his name? Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
That movie series that is blanking right now for me.
Anchorman.
Yes, that character has a brand new podcast that started. Like, I mean, that's kind of, it's not meta, but it's like going another level. So it's not Will Ferrell, it's Ron Burgundy, like being Ron Burgundy having a podcast. And I was like, okay, like,
well,
we're hitting that popularity.
It's like the Colbert Report.
Yes. So yeah, it's been interesting to see how times and things have transitioned and changed. What about you, Damon? Like, how did you kind of come about learning about podcasts and then joining on with? Was it simply being solicited by Jeff on producer or?
So, oh gosh. So it was funny. So I knew about the podcast that Gary was talking about that he knew of and was aware of. It was also a friend of mine. And I knew about podcasting and I knew it was a thing. And when Jeff put the message out there on Bruiser, it was like, why not? Like, let's just try it. And so I always tell myself, do things that you wouldn't normally do. And this was something I wouldn't normally do. I wouldn't normally put myself in a situation where I'm having to talk with people for long periods of time or what have you. So when the message got out there, it was like, sure, let's just sign up. And I think, I was one of the first. And we did the TNG thing, and I really liked it. And it became a almost weekly thing. Something that I look like Jeff has mentioned on the show before, he looks forward to every week. you know, getting to talk about things and getting to share experiences with people and it be essentially put out there for everyone else is, I think, usually generally beneficial. You know,
and
it may give someone.
You really like to talk.
I sure as fuck do.
Wow.
Like, it's funny. I kind of knew that a little more so beforehand, but it's one of those ones where now that you, like, I realize, fuck, I talk a lot. Blame it on my theater, blame it on my English backgrounds, kind of thing. But yeah, so it was really wanted to do, and I'm glad I got an opportunity to do it, and I'm glad I'm still doing it. It's been, you know, we've had some moments, we've had some interesting times. I'll keep it at that. But for the most part, like, it's been enjoyable. You know, we've had some great guests. We've had the thing I think I like the most is that we've been able to share knowledge in some way about things that we maybe didn't know a lot about, or things that we are very familiar with that we're willing to discuss, talk about. So, yeah.
Like porn?
Like porn. Like you know, kink, leather, like you know, I mean, with Dr. Cisco, he's a doctor. You know, some of those topics and things that you are important in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
I always have to say that. I love it. Hi, Cisco, if you hear this episode.
Owen said in the live chat, I like where Damon is going. Hearing other people's experiences is definitely a good thing to relate to.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed about coming on and then having individuals be guests on the show. Speaking of which, in the next month, we have 2 guests lined up on separate episodes. They're both repeaters because we like people who come with us time after time.
Once.
and again.
Again and again and again.
one of which currently is the reigning highest repeater. He has come with us so many times on our show. So we're keeping that tradition alive, which will be fun. So, yeah, I mean, we have different people on. It's interesting to me to think back on all the different avenues and ideas that we've had. And some we kind of did and they didn't do. And some we completely changed and some just didn't come about at all. But that's okay because I think it's the thing that this show has taught me a lot of is like learning to let go. Like, it's never going to be perfect. We're going to do the best that we can. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like we just try to have fun with it.
Yeah. We never say we're professional at this.
Well, I don't think that's ever been a proper expectation. I think there has been a desire.
Yeah.
We want to up our game. You know,
be better.
A little more professional, but fuck that. I don't have time for that shit.
Well, it reminds me of like I've been watching YouTube more in the past year than ever before, and I had to laugh because recently someone was being interviewed. 2 different people actually that were being interviewed for random, totally different things, and both of them said something on camera, and they were like, "Oh, I probably can't say that," and they were dropping like the F-bomb, and it was really funny because I was like, "Yes," I'm like, they swear in their everyday life all the time, and they are minding themselves and trying to be appropriate.
Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing I will say that often has been, you know, the thing for me. Like, while we try and strive to be as professional, quote unquote, as possible, you know, realize that we are kind of doing this, you know, voluntarily. You know, my biggest kind of comparison is the chorus, because, you know, I've been singing with them for a long time too, and it's a group of volunteers doing something that they love. Mm. You know, music and singing, and yes, there's a larger message. Yes, there's a larger thing put out there, but at the end of the day, it's guys getting together, people getting together, to do something they enjoy. And that's kind of what I feel like this is. And while, again, we want to try to be as professional as possible, it's not going to happen.
No.
You know, you're going to have your moments. We're going to have our slip ups. We're going to have our, missed audio cues. We're going to have our,
I'm going to
site
forget
breakdown.
what day it is. It's
You're going to forget what number it is. I'm going to keep talking.
Shit doesn't get put on the calendar.
Yeah.
So that
docs aren't created until like 20 minutes before the show even starts.
Co-hosts question other co-hosts, are we doing a show today? Like, what's going on?
Things happen.
The very special audio thing that somebody was going to do wasn't started until like 30 minutes before we actually started the call, that sort of thing.
But that's none of my business.
There's but there's also been like, I mean,
sip that tea.
I'll own that my original idea or concept was like we would have this huge party and we would invite everybody that's ever been on all the episodes and past co-hosts and all this stuff. And then I was like, like that's a lot of people. And I don't know if we can make that work on Google Hangout. Like,
yeah,
if everyone decided to sort of pop in, because I'm pretty sure Google Hangout has a limit. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 15 or something.
Yeah.
So, and Google keeps changing all their stuff anyways, because they're like doing away with this and notifications for this are going away. Google Plus is going to disappear later this year. So I was like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Or just get audio messages, but then it's asking them to do something, but we really shouldn't do it because, they considering other people's feelings. Because I would have loved to have on, or at least hear from Robert and Eric and Griff and Tim and JJ and that other guy, maybe.
He who we do not talk about?
Not be named, apparently.
Drama in a gay audio podcast. Who would have thought?
Never. So for those of you that don't know, this is not tea spilling. This is just a briefest, like, light icing of an explanation. There is a former individual of the podcast history who left very kind of dramatically. And so I think out of respect for them, we just don't mention their name because, yeah, that was their choice.
I thought if you go back in episodes, you probably would be able to figure it out.
Choices.
This is quite some time ago, so just for clarity.
And the thing I'm working on,
I'm
working on, he's there.
It's all good.
His voice will be known. So
okay, Voldemort. We'll just Voldemort the fuck out of him and just leave him. Just. Voldemort.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't consider him that evil, but still.
No.
All right, so to be honest, this individual is not an evil person. There's a time and a place for people who can counterbalance, who have a differing opinion. I mean, even Damon and I on COLDR, we are not 100% lockstep. Like, we're probably like 80, 85, 90% most of the time. But I think even at the end of the last season, the last 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, nope. David said other direction. I was like, I do not agree with you. Like, I feel this way about it. And, we get along fine. Like, we don't get into a screaming match or freaking out or having, a little, like, youth, like, pissy match about something. We just, we're friends. We respect each other. And I'm like, you're allowed to be wrong with your opinion. Thank you very much.
What?
For those of you that don't know, I just got like such a murderous side eye. I am now dead. I have no mana left. Like, all points. I've been slaughtered.
It's okay.
I've
Sorry
been
about that. That was. Ooh. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's been great. We've had some great co-hosts. We've had some not so great co-hosts. We've had some great guests. We've had some not so great guests. It's the way things are. That's what we call life. It's someone.
You know what? I totally forgot. Chester.
Yeah, Chester.
I don't even know why I totally forgot about him. Which reminds me, I need to make sure that slip him in there too.
So yeah, but it keeps. As Ixidor said, it keeps it human. That's the one thing I will say I like about this is that we what keeps me coming back, I will say, is the opportunities to laugh and have fun and enjoy like the conversation. Hell, what we just did, we go off the rails often.
Well, what makes me laugh is the slogan / subtitle is the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length. Although many of you who are subscribers or frequent listeners, viewers are aware that we are a longer running podcast. And for quite some time, we've been over an hour to an hour and a half, like as the regular. Although tonight we might just break tradition. But I think that that's one of the things that is kind of reliable. I will say this, like I'm listening to a podcast right now and they're kind of focusing on being short in length. And while it's helpful, like if I'm busy doing something and I know I have a small window of time to listen, like I'm going to wash dishes and do some cleaning up or whatever, and I'm going to do it for like a half an hour, a shorter podcast can be really helpful. Because that's usually what I do is I listen to podcasts while I'm doing other things. So like I'm driving somewhere, I'm, taking care of tasks. It used to be when I worked from home, I did that. And so it was helpful. But that particular podcast that I'm listening to, they have some interesting topics that they get into, but it's almost kind of like a unfulfilling appetizer. Or like a small portion meal. Like I listen, and then like most of the time I'm kind of like, oh well, that was okay.
It's like having one of those fun-sized Three Musketeers.
Well, I was just gonna say it's kind of like being on a diet. It's like, well, I had a scoop of ice cream, like so. I guess I should be satisfied with that. But maybe it's not as rich and full in flavor as and in depth as it wanted to be. And I don't mean to criticize them. I just mean for me personally, I've come to realize that like I'm really good when I listen to stuff to a half an hour or to an hour. But there's one right now like I really want to listen to because I can't wait to hear the guest that's on it. And it's an extra long episode. It's 2 hours. And so in my mind, I'm like, I got to dedicate some time to this because I know me when it gets to the 1 hour mark, I'm probably not going to want to stop listening.
By the way, on another mark, do you even know where my tagline came from?
You stole it.
Yes.
Well, someone says
I did.
Someone in the chat said, yeah, someone's been listening since 2012. He said, I thought of Indeterminate Link was a dick joke reference.
Oh, nope.
No.
Not intentionally. Let me rephrase. Not intentionally.
To be fair, yes, penis lengths can be indeterminate. They can change over time. And between the three of us as co-hosts, you do not have the same size. So there's that. And this is not scientifically proven. It is just purely a guesstimate on my part. Careful, David. You're going to run out of tea so fast in this episode. I'm trying to drink all of it.
Oh, my God.
So just to clarify, let me talk about the origin of the title and tagline.
Origin story.
One of the things that made me want to do a show was a show from CNET called Buzz Out Loud.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the tagline CNET's podcast of indeterminate length. Because originally it was supposed to be like a little 5-minute show between Mollywood and Tom Barrett, and they were talking about some of the tech stories of the day. But eventually it kind of got longer and popular and such, so they threw in the tagline. Then I want to start one. I could call it Cubs Out Loud, and it'll be the Bear Podcast of indeterminate length because we didn't know how long we would actually go. Who knows? It may be short, it may be long, maybe fat, it's thin, I don't know.
Well,
it may be meaty, it may be girthy, it may be
thick.
Well, to be fair, in the history of the podcast, the size has been pretty wide at times. Some could say girthy. We have had some episodes that have been pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
There was a very long time in which you could probably say that they were uncut. I think that we try to just minimally edit. I guess you could say that the patrons get the uncut version and that the public gets the cut version. I don't know if that's a preference for anybody.
So are we now referring them to the two different versions as the uncircumcised and the circumcised versions?
No.
I think we're breaking Damon. I think he's about to be officially done.
And apparently Gray is currently taking a shower while listening to the podcast.
Hi, Eric.
Oh my.
We have a picture of him doing that. So, just saying.
That's over there on that system. I was looking at the live chat. I was like, you could post pictures?
No.
Never mind. Nice. Philip, is this podcast cut or uncut? Well, it just depends.
Well, the podcast is uncut right now. I haven't done any editing. So I have to get the oil out for the post.
Love it.
So, Jeff, do you know off the top of your head, can you count how many co-hosts there have been over
10.
there?
Besides me, it would be 9, but total 10.
Okay.
We actually kind of did this math earlier, but then I totally forgot about Chester for some reason.
It's okay.
but yeah, so let's rattle off the hosts again. So it was me, JJ, Tim to start. Griff came in the middle. I mean, I had guest co-host for a couple episodes of Cookie, but I'm not really counting him as a full-fledged one.
Okay.
Then we go into the next generation. We got Damon. We got him. We got, and then I think, and Robert. That was at the beginning. And then we had Eric. We had Gary. And we had Chester.
There we go.
Ta-da. So over 500 episodes, we had 5 regular co-hosts.
Nice.
Or 10, whatever.
Isidore, I think that's how you pronounce the username in the live chat, said all future shortened episodes should be named Circumcised Edition.
Cubs out loud, foreskin not included.
Wow. We started a whole new thing.
Well, we've talked about doing Cubs Out Loud After Dark and Cubs Out Loud Uncut. So
yeah. So let's add that or explain that. There's an unofficial list of things we've never done. Cubs Out Loud After Dark is one of them. We've joked many a time about having a XXX webcam version that you pay $24.95 a month for.
Well, I think Chatterbait works with OBS.
Oh boy. Excuse me.
Saying.
I called my agent to renegotiate my contract.
I'm just stating facts. That's all.
Facts are facts, Erica.
Hold on. I need to confirm. Chatterbait and
so now he's gonna look it up. Let's make sure you got that fact right.
About having a Cubs Out Loud account. We've talked about having a oh gosh, what else have we talked about?
Yeah. I found a support article on how to set up OBS for Chatterbait.
I am so not surprised by this.
I don't know how I feel about that at the moment.
So we could actually stream this podcast over in Chatterbait if we wanted to.
That's nice.
Yeah.
David, that's nice.
I've
also interpreted as no way in hell. Not in this lifetime. Yeah, I could understand. So many dick jokes to so little time. Oh, Isidore, aka what Tumblr should have done, monetized that. True.
Oh,
that is
a shade right there.
That was deserved shade. That deserves points. for honesty and integrity. I mean, it do take nerve, but it's the truth. We've seen so many things, change over the years, and that's one of the things that I'm glad that we've been able to do is speak openly and frankly about stuff. And we're not always like in agreement or maybe on the same page of certain things. That's fine. And that's one of my biggest things that I said way back was there are certain websites that are free, and I would be perfectly content if they would monetize that shit, and instead of like doing the advertising route or to minimize that, like charge my ass. Like
a freemium model, maybe.
What?
It's like a freemium where you can use it for free, you get ads, and then you can pay like $5 a month and you get no ads. And maybe some extra features.
Well, and if you have the bandwidth of I mean, once there's I don't know what the number is, but like it depends, but there's a certain threshold when you have so many people, and it's like you could easily do it for $1 a month. Yeah. And for $12 a year, which after taxes, maybe it comes down to like, I don't know, $9 a year that you're making off of every person. You multiply that. If you start getting up there in the thousands to the millions, that's a lot of money. So, I understand that like advertising can bring in other big dollars, but it's just not the game, so to speak.
Sometimes freemium is worth it.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because just this past week, as a random aside, I saw some people who were like, "Hey, does anybody use Tumblr anymore? Like, did everybody move to Twitter? What's going on?" Which kind of made me laugh because I was like, "Yeah, I haven't logged into Tumblr. Did I tell you guys? Maybe in the What's Going On, Tumblr sent me an email and legitimately said, "Hey, you haven't logged in for a while." No shit, bitch.
Yeah, like, you wonder why.
Right. It's like, why are you sending me this automated email? Dumb fucks. Like, you should have paid attention.
Know where you at.
Right. Well,
what you been doing?
They could wonder all they want. They could wonder all they want. All they had to do was look back and realize that my, account had been pretty much locked down. And it's like, well, why would I bother to go on there?
I downloaded my shit. I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need you anymore. Oh, I don't need you anymore. Anyway, no. So they're
anymore.
Nice.
Can't use you anymore. Killing the fire and we feel the desire. I don't need you anymore. Sorry, there's a garbage song which has that same phrase.
I was doing Believe by Cher.
I figured you were doing a different song, but the first song that came to my mind because favorite band, Garbage.
Got it. My yeah. Anyway,
Deadwood. That's what that song was called. I love that song.
Yes. So, guest podcast shows. Anything else?
I just want everyone to know if y'all have ideas, by all means, submit them, email them to us, send a voicemail, any of that kind of stuff. Even if you chat with us privately. If there's something that crosses your mind, we have a big document that should probably actually be started over from fresh, just because it has so much stuff on it. And a lot of it is stuff we've actually done. It's an actual document about topics and things.
Clean it up.
Yeah, and so there's some things that have kind of come about. Like recently, we talked about financial domination, which was something from last year. So there's some things like we don't get to necessarily right away, and part of it is a little bit of timing. Also, like, is there a guest? We like having guests on. So if there's people that that are, related to the bear community that are doing things. I mean, we've been highly supportive of artists over the years, whether it's through recording stuff or producing things. I guess they're creative individuals. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's some of the things that we want to do, and there's been some long-standing guests that we've reached out to that I want to try to circle back and talk to them. One of them happens to be a gentleman who studies kink in terms of like psychological aspects. And so like I talked to him a couple years ago and he was game to be on, but like it's kind of sometimes about a timing thing. And so we're connected in social media wise. Like he just posted about something So I've got to reach out and talk to him. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of things. So if there's anything that you guys have questions about, I realize that we're maybe not necessarily the most topical when it comes to things that are happening in the community. But I think part of that is it's difficult to talk about things, especially when the narrative can change so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, I just listened to an episode of a podcast in the past 24 hours that was talking about something that happened in the past month, and from when it was announced until where we are today, the story has changed a ton in terms of a possible hate crime and what that meant and how people reacted to it, and now where things stand. And it's not so much that you can't comment on it, but it was really interesting to listen to people like have an immediate reaction, not knowing what the future was to come of it. So, and I don't necessarily mean that we're super cautious. It's just, I think sometimes, we don't feel like we have maybe a specific, unique aspect to contribute to that. I mean, sure.
Or maybe more think of it as we tried to be more evergreen.
True. Yeah. And one of the things that I personally am not interested in, at least, and I don't think this show has necessarily been that way, is just to like bitch to bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like to talk about things without actually trying to contribute anything. I think at least like if we're engaged and we're having discussions, we're trying to not only learn about something, but then maybe
we're not drag kings in front of a mirror, putting our makeup on and gossiping. You're like, wait a minute, no, I think we are.
Well, I mean,
girl, have you seen what Dolores does the other day? Oh my god.
I was thinking more about how if you apply the philosophy that like how you present yourself to the world is drag, so technically by being quote unquote bears, that's a form of drag. I think.
I mean, now you're going a little too deep into what my analogy was trying to refer to. or just old ladies at a hair salon, all under the big hair dryers and reading magazines and talking about the neighbors.
You're talking about gossip.
Yes.
Talking about stereotypes.
We're not gossip girls.
I am not retired. I am not a blue hair. I do not have my hair in curlers under the machine, getting my nails done and shipping Chardonnay. Well,
here's your ladies' lunch.
Broader spectrum, but and I mean the format of the show has also changed a lot.
True.
Since first we started, like when I first started, we had basically barely any, if any, organization at all. I tried to have at least some sort of segments and such to kind of make it fun and at least kind of like some sort of roadmap for an episode, and that's evolved over the years. Our titles end up not being like some random silly thing that's involving the show. Instead, it's actually something that actually is figured out beforehand, instead of afterhand. Like, what are we going to call this show? That's changed.
Yeah, when you originated the podcast, it was definitely a off the cuff, improvisational style, and by that I mean, it was like there may have been some ideas of some things to discuss, but it was purely, you get together, you record the show, it gestates, and then something of it comes out, and that kind of gives you the impetus, like, oh, we will decide to name this one, the Buddha slinging or whatever.
The Buddha Christianity and a Drunk Chick at Fridays was episode number 2. Episode number 4. Episode number 4 was bacon. There was an exclamation point. The Dark Cubs, WTF. Chasers. That was actually more topical. Prude at a bear pool party. Come again? Question mark. Jezebelian horror.
That one actually is one of my favorite titles of a show, even though I think I listened to it once many years ago. It's just kind of funny to hear.
Jezebelian horror?
I mean, to be fair, episode 52 is come, rinse, repeat. So there is something intriguing about that.
Wow.
Speaking of wow, David, you could go back and listen to episode 68, Wow, Hangover.
Number 93, Boy Butter on the Bird. That was a
y'all had something on the mind. Episode 77, There Are Larger Dicks.
Let's see.
Oh man.
Oh, I didn't realize we had 117. The title is We Said It's Indeterminate Length, but it's a lost episode, so nobody knows how long it is. 4 planets.
Let's see. Did it kill your geek heart on?
To be fair, the episode before it, 134, Grilled Cheese and Tomato Soup, that's a Jeff episode.
Yep. I'm sure.
Oh, we were so educational back then. Episode 123, Chili Can Be Fart Proof. Wow.
Wow. Okay,
Homo robotic moobs.
Yeah. So episode 176, let's compare libraries and swap. And then it has porn and
wow. That was before I ended up joining.
Yeah, and then started having regular titles. Oh, you gotta love the episode Smegma. Or Dentured for Your Pleasure.
Oh.
That was our worst fuck episode.
I remember that one.
I was not around for 172, officially titled Bitch, Bitch, Bitching, Bitch. Parentheses, bitchy stuff. There must have officially been something to say in that episode.
Let's see.
This is now us going through old episodes and looking for...
So to be fair, I'm gonna call out an episode. This is a time long ago. This is back soon, right about when I joined. Episode 205, Mystery Sammy. Up, Tumblr is down. We had a gentleman who interacted with us for quite a while as an audience member, asking a series of questions that we were answering. So yeah, I remember that. The Mystery Sammy questions.
One of the most popular episodes Damon is highlighting, the Depends on the Sausage You Eat. Adrian was on.
That's it. Just make me spill my water. That was
great. We have had... Yes. Exidor, titling is an art. Yes, it is.
Oh, I thought it said titillating. I thought he said in the live chat clearly titillating is an art. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
I can see that. Unfortunately, soon after that, things started to get more of slowly started switching over into very much what the topic was.
Uncle Gary's porn stash.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
Hey, so I did not pick the title of that episode for the record. I just want to make that clear.
Our 6th anniversary episode was the Fuck, Marry, Kill episode.
Oh. Yeah.
I just realized that our very first LTAS was technically called Let's Talk About Sex. And then 2 weeks later, we did the first LTAS series show, Blowjobs.
Blowjobs.
With Hadrian and a very uncomfortable Jeff of Rock Hub, if I remember.
Yes.
Kind of. Like, I kind of felt bad for him, but, you know. After it. But at that point...
but not really.
Yeah, and at that point, it started getting to be more of the name of the topic. So that was about 2014 when we started being more specific on the topic of what we were talking about as part of the title.
Although I like the 2014 year in review. Fuck, fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
So, speaking of series and things, I think as we get ready to wrap up, this is a little teaser for those of you that haven't necessarily subscribed or look at our calendar on Google. Next week's episode is an LTAS episode that we have planned.
Ooh. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you.
I mean,
and the topic is bathhouse etiquette.
Oh my.
We're going to get Miss Manners and Landers all up in this shit.
Yes.
Next week. So
stay tuned.
We have a guest joining us that is currently planned, so I'm looking forward to that actually.
Damn it, damn it. I need to get some experience before no, I'm kidding. I should try to get some real world experience. Like close my door and like I'm recording live from.
Wow. Well, maybe to be appropriate, we should all just wear towels and nothing else.
Oh, girl. No.
Provided I have a cheap, white, thin towel that fit my fat ass.
See, I don't.
Yeah.
Not in this house. Not white.
All my towels have a color to it.
Yeah, it's like I just realized I think I have one white towel. Like,
I mean, I have a white towel, but it's not all white, and it's not really a towel.
Wait,
I mean, it's considered a towel.
Wait,
I mean, you got a point.
You say it's like off-white?
No.
Or like, miscolored, perhaps stained?
I'm thinking it might have something that I think it might say Cubs Out Loud on it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I
have that towel. Yeah, the giant washcloth. AKA cum towel.
Come right.
Live chat. Uncle needs to do research. My. Another episode that we currently have lined up this month for March. We're going to have a guest on, and I'm actually very intrigued by this because I think for once, and I don't know how long, I know not much of this topic. We're going to talk about gay gaming characters and how that has evolved, and most likely I have a feeling we're going to get talking about people's reactions to finding out that game characters
Plus,
are
Gary using terminology when it comes to video games is hilarious.
Yeah, yes, for David and Jeff, when Gary says things in our private chat as 3 co-hosts, and then I'm like, here's the topic, and then Jeff's like, do you mean this? Maybe? I don't know. Because I'm not really into gaming. So, not very much, really.
No.
Wow, that didn't sound like like there was any.
I mean, after asking questions for clarification, I ended up being like, "Yes, I see your knowledge gap."
And here's the thing: I'm not saying I know things either. I know a little more, but not a whole lot more. So it'll be interesting for me too.
Going back to the episode that's going to be next week, number 501. On bathhouse etiquette, Owen says, I've never been in a bathhouse to have fun, but I have worked in one. Dirty job. Owen, you really should submit some things to us for our discussion next week, because you have an insider's knowledge from the working aspects. I think that the rest of us, as hosts and guests, will be discussing things as an attendee, as one who partakes in the features and amenities of an establishment.
You might be able to answer the question, do you just use a hose or do you use a power washer?
Wow. Wow.
Ooh.
And on that note,
is that the end?
I think that's the end. I think we're good to end on that. Let's end on that high note.
This is the first time where we got to the end of the show, and I said, and instead of saying, "Hey, guess what? It's the end," I'm like, That's the end? Question mark?
Is that the end?
And I think
Janet.
And I think YouTube just had a hiccup.
Go on, girl, Miss Janet.
Yes.
Oh, no, we got throb stuff in mind. Anyways, plenty of ways to contact us. Submit your questions for next week's show, or any show for that matter. You can do that in many ways. You can pop over to our website, cubsoutloud.com, and leave a comment on the blog. Shoot us an email at cubsoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail, sexy or otherwise, at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. By the way, all this is in the... is it about or contact us? I forget, on the website. But it's on there. So it's, put that in your phone, by the way. 361-265-8255. That way you can speed dial us. You can find us various social media outlets on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and of course right here on YouTube at Cubs Out Loud in the appropriate place of the URL. You can also join our Entourage chat where you can see what Gray does while listening to our podcast at tinyurl.com/telegram-col. You can subscribe to our calendar to see what the upcoming shows that we have planned and scheduled are at tinyurl.com/calendar-col. You can get merch such as the Sloppy Bottom 23 shirt, the version 2 t-shirt or sweatshirt or whatever type of shirt you want, the version 3 shirt, also our version 1 like cute little teddy bear logo, and various other accoutrements at zazzle.com/cubsoutloud. You can subscribe to us, become a patron, help me eventually get parts to build the new computer, as well as pay for the hosting for this show at patreon.com/cubsoutloud for as little as $1 a month, or as much as you want. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're good either way. You can also rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us, Google Play Podcasts. Give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio. You can find me anywhere on the internet. It says Box Puppy, Box Cub, Box something or other.
Theater Cub 79 on most bear sites such as Growler, or even on Facebook, or you can find me as pup_Umbra on Twitter.
If you want to get in touch with me online, you can pretty much find me anywhere as Gerber73. Specifically, if you want to follow my retweets, and every once in a while,
naughty,
posts on Twitter, it would be GARBEAR73XXX.
And with that, say good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Yeah. 500. Yes.
500. And by the way, that's all of the shows have used that same exact same song. It's like one of the few things that have actually not changed about the show.
Oh.
As a post-episode Patreon exclusive insight, there was a brief time in which there was a consideration of maybe changing the theme song.
Yes.
Came and went. Like so many tricks.
Wow.
Well, and it was also kind of like I had kind of specific requirements for what I was looking for.
Right.
Because I kind of want to be able to, you know how at the beginning it has that intro thing which I play under the teaser. The teaser, and it easily just goes right into the song after I'm done, and I could just loop that initial part, so that does that depending on how long I do the teaser for. So there's
a reason. There's a natural. There was a progression There were conversations, things were had, but nothing. Not nothing. We just have maintained a similar theme.
Yeah. So, besides me, the only other thing that hasn't changed. Oh, I suppose I personally have changed, but I'm still here. It's still me.
Yeah.
So me and the theme music are the only consistency through the entire series of Cubs Out Loud.
Before I forget, tomorrow is somebody's special day. And they probably don't remember this or realize it.
What?
Happy anniversary, Damon.
Oh, what? Wait.
I
have it on my calendar. Is it tomorrow?
Damon
It
joined
sure as fuck is.
the second generation of hosts on March 4th, 2012.
Oh.
So happy 7 years, bitch.
I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been long. No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say,
yes.
I feel like we should send like a consolation, like edible arrangement to Jim or something.
Sorry for taking all his time. No, he's actually at work right now, which is appropriate.
Right.
So, yay. Oh yeah, I do have it on my. So I have a notification on my calendar specifically for this. So I don't know if you can read it. There it goes, and it has the date next to it, so I can remember.
I just caught it. I was looking through our spreadsheet of the Matrix of all the episodes we've ever done, and I was trying to remember when you joined versus me and that kind of stuff. Because mine was in 2013. Almost a year after you, less than a year. So yeah.
As a co-host or that.
Well, so I joined. Well, I came on as a guest in episode 195. We're all wet. Was the title, and talked about the run, and then I'm thinking that very next week later, and as an episode, is when I ended up joining.
Oh. Nice. Hey, guess what? I'm going to stop streaming.